and welcome to the Next in Line podcast, where we are helping to prepare you for whatever is next in line. As always, I am your host, Chance Pitts, and I'd like to thank you for tuning into this episode. Guys and gals, welcome into another episode of the podcast. I am extremely excited. I've got a very, very highly requested guest with me today in the new studio, as you can see. I'm very excited to let y'all see what we have going on here and all the cool things we're moving. I think this episode is going to be one that brings a lot of value to anybody that gives it a listen, but especially those who are on the fence about getting into their personal development, whether it's their physical health, their mental health, spiritual health, whatever it is that you're deciding to take on. This will be a great episode for you. Or even if you're already started down that line, I think this story is going to be one that really moves you in a positive direction. Guys, make sure you're checking us out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. That's at Next Line Development. Make sure you share the show with somebody who might get value. And then also, guys, if you could, leave us a like, comment, a rating, a review, or subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. That's going to help us reach a larger audience and be able to help more people with that. Guys, so without any further ado, I would like to introduce you to my guest, Mr. Billy Pitts, and I hope y'all enjoy the show. Hey, so welcome into this episode of the Next in Line podcast. I'm super excited to have y'all in here in the brand new studio that we're still in the process of finishing out, but we're pretty much done with this at this point. What you see is what you get, but we're pretty proud of it, and I would not want to be in here shooting my first interview in the new studio with anybody else besides who I'm sitting here with today, my dad, Mr. Billy Pitts. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Thank y'all for making the trip down here, and they came down to help out with some stuff that we had up in Central Texas. They brought it down to us, and then on top of that, just for visit and see the new house and the new studio. And everybody's been telling me I need to get you in here and talk to you, and we've been talking about doing one for a long time. So
we have
a little impromptu. Figured, why don't we sit down and throw a podcast together? So here we are.
Well, why not? First, I want to say congratulations on the house. I know y'all been in here about a week now, I think.
Yep.
And, man, the studio is coming along very nice. The whole house. Congratulations to you and Lane.
Thank you.
That's fantastic.
Big shout out to Lane for not only her help, but allowing me to do these things, spend the money, spend the time, the effort, all that stuff. Huge deal. Couldn't have done it without her. And, of course, y'all's inspiration. I stole the idea for the office a little bit from yours and some other things. But here we are. Now I'm super excited to have you on here. I think we got some cool stuff to dive into.
For sure.
For those of y'all that don't know, a big part of my inspiration for going down this path of personal development has come from Mr. Billy Pitts here, my dad. He started a little bit earlier than I did, but since then we've done a lot of pushing and pulling for each other to motivate and inspire each other to go and do some crazy stuff. So with that, really, why don't you tell us a little bit about you? Who is Billy Pitts? What do you do? What all is going on in your life, your crazy busy life?
Oh, man, I thought when I got older things were going to slow down and get more laid back, but I think I just do more, and I enjoy the heck out of it. I'm 52 years old. I play in a Czech/country band back home. Been doing that now and just enjoying the heck out of it. I'm into physical fitness, enjoy working out, enjoy helping people work out and helping show people what they can do to achieve their goals. I'm on the school board, been there for, 12 plus years now. There in the small community of Westphalia where I'm from, and been involved with Go Texan, just umpiring, just whatever. A little bit of everything.
Seems like whatever you can get your hands on and get involved in to help out with the community, you're pretty much on deck, diving in.
Oh, yeah, and maintaining a full-time job on top of that, so,
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff, and that's kind of crazy, right? We started doing all these things and diving into this stuff, and ultra running, like you've been doing too. You've been taking on some ultra marathons. That's no easy thing to dive into training schedule-wise.
No, it definitely takes some time and some commitment to do that, and it's something I never thought I would get involved in, but you've inspired me to go that direction, and really have enjoyed the heck out of it.
Ultra running has been a teacher like no other for me, and I've loved to see what it's done for you as well, and the impact it's had in your life, just from our previous conversations and the things we've done. But man, you touched on it a little bit with helping others. I know that's a huge passion that we both share mutually. Tell me a little bit and tell us a little bit about the Westphalia Fitness Center that has come about. We jokingly say Westphalia Fitness Center, but I'll let you fill in the details a little bit on that one.
Well, it was kind of early on in my journey of getting into shape. I was had been into it for a year and a half or so, and then all of a sudden COVID hit and gyms shut down and things like that. So I set up a home gym, started working out, had converted one of the extra rooms in the house to a gym, and a buddy started coming over, and we were working out pretty steadily, and it just kind of grew from there. Have a little shop out back, and so kind of took over about half of that shop and laid out a gym, got some more equipment in there, and just been hitting it and just really started to see some nice gains and transformations and really how I felt and how I looked. So it was outstanding. And so now it's grown into more things. More people are asking me, well, what do you do? How do you do that? And so I've got probably about 8 people coming in now using the gym total, some friends and family as well, and just trying to better themselves. It's what I like to see is it's growing. People start asking, well, you've been doing this for a while now, and I like what I'm seeing. Teach me a little bit. So it's kind of grown from there, and it's really phenomenal to see. And that's all. Like you say, I've got the heart of somebody that likes to just see people do well and see people do good things and help people out. And so whenever I can do that, it just is phenomenal. So
see, that's cool, and it's kind of a testament to that heart of giving that you just talked about. The fact that you've got 8 people coming over and just using your gym equipment whenever. I know they're coming over when you're not there, just all the time trying to get better. And the fact that you're inspiring those people to do so, you're opening up your land, your home, your gym, whatever you want to call it, and giving your time to help out with any questions they have. So with that said, though, and you hinted to the fact that you've been doing this a little while, when did your journey start? You said you're 52 now, right?
Right.
So when does that journey start for you?
Man, probably when I was about 47, 48, somewhere in there. Really just way overweight. I was probably 60 pounds heavier, just out of shape. Felt like doing absolutely nothing when I got home every day.
Yep.
Sit on the couch, eat a bag of chips, whatever, and just watch TV and then go to bed, do it all over again. And really the several little triggers, happened, but one day going up the stairs, talking to a coworker on the phone, and go up the stairs to get to my laptop, and I'm breathing real hard. I didn't even know it. And he was like, "You all right? What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm just going up the stairs." He said, "Well, I thought you were running or something." I was like, "No." And, that was one of those aha moments, but, it kind of got my attention. And, I just honestly just got tired of feeling bad.
Yeah.
Just tired of not feeling well, And I was like, is this what I have left to look forward to in my life,
Yeah, you start seeing some of those, not to pick on anybody or call anybody out, you start seeing some of those images of, like, not being able to drag yourself out of the couch, having to take a bunch of pills all the time, just basically medicating yourself into being able to live a life.
Right.
And I like I said, not being a bully or mean to anybody that does that, because everybody's welcome to live their life how they want to live and enjoy life how they want to live it. But it sounds like you and I kind of had a similar thing where you decide that's not what you want, right?
Exactly. I mean, we all have choices, and I kind of decided, like, if I'm going to put things in my body and do things to my body, I want it to be things that I want to do to my body and put in my body, And so to take myself down a positive channel, that way I'm not having to be prescribed a bunch of things that I don't really want in my body. So that's kind of was my outlook. Part of the reason, like I said, there's always a ton of little reasons that come together that really lead to the big picture, and it really got me going, got me motivated to get started and make a difference,
Absolutely. No, and that's really inspirational I think for a lot of people to hear, because you, back in high school, you played several sports. You ran cross country. You did some things, but you never had a history of being some kind of crazy endurance athlete or some over the top stud performer in the athletic world, right?
No, just your average jock, your average kid, just trying to find his way, and I got involved in all different kind of things, running cross country, didn't particularly like it, lifted weights, didn't care for that either. I was just a scrawny, skinny kid back then, and there really wasn't any kind of structure around any of that for me back then. I wasn't a football player. I was, I played basketball, ran track, ran cross country, pretty active and all, but just none of that seemed to really appeal to me back then. So.
Sure. And so I know you alluded to the fact that I started running was a little bit of a drag for you, but not being someone that came from that kind of athletic background or endurance sports background or loving anything like that, it sounded like you just you did it as something to do. Kind of living in a small town, you look for things to do to occupy your time and things like that. But how in the world did ultra running end up being something that you now are actively doing and enjoy as a 52-year-old out of nowhere, out of the blue? What?
Man, I don't know. I never would have thought, because I used to look at people that ran marathons and think like, man, those guys are crazy. Why in the heck would you run that far?
Yeah.
And then
and now we're the ones getting called crazy.
Yeah. Things get your, like I say, things like little things get your attention over time. And I remember my brother-in-law Robert Reese running a marathon for the first time, and I thought he was crazy for doing that.
Yeah.
And then he did it, and I was like, oh, okay. But you start seeing these different things and little signs, and you're like, okay, maybe I can do this, And when you started running, and I saw the dramatic change it made in you, I was like, I'm going to give this a shot. I'm going to try it, And quickly began to understand it and fall in love with it. So,
absolutely. And when you say a change you saw in me, what exactly are you talking about? That change that you saw? Are you talking about a physical change? Are you talking about a mental shift?
All of the above.
All of the above.
Yeah,
okay.
Really. It's a package. It's yes, certainly it was physical. And between you getting in shape, losing weight, putting on muscle, and being able to run like I remember you being able to run when you were a youngster. And then just to see, though, the positive mental outlook you started to have on life. I mean, you already had some of that anyway, but you really started to focus on it and pull that out. And I was like, you started to advance quickly in your career as well. So it led into a lot of different avenues in your life. You're married a wonderful young lady, and everything started coming together for you. That's kind of the power of positive thinking and being motivated. All those things coming together make everything work.
Absolutely. No, and I appreciate you saying all that. And I think it did play a really positive role getting into the endurance and running, but I think it was kind of like you said, all of the above thing, right? It was one aspect. It really started as a physical thing for me. You said your trigger moment was going up the stairs and huffing and puffing, and that coworker kind of basically embarrassing you a little bit without knowing.
Oh, and I knew for years that I needed to get in shape. I sat there and look. You get out of the shower, you look at yourself, and man, starting to gain weight. That belly's getting bigger. Gonna have to buy some bigger pants. And all of that stuff, and in the back of your mind, I really should get in shape, but you just I'll do it later, or I don't have time was my biggest biggest crutch, I guess, or excuse, or whatever you want to call it. But
absolutely, and the thing, the tipping point for me with that too was the similar, like looking in the bathroom mirror. I think it happened to me one day after we went out drinking really heavily, and I woke up and that was back when I was about 230 pounds. So really about 60 pounds heavier than I am now, maybe 65. And I woke up and I felt like crap, looked like crap, turned around, looked in the mirror in the bathroom, and just I've had a realization, like I don't know what it was. I had this misconception of what I was. I always felt like this guy that had his stuff together and in shape, and then in that one moment realized, like, oof, okay, it's not there. That's not what this is anymore. And that's kind of the switch that flipped in my head too. So I had a very similar incident where it started down the path. And honestly, development didn't start right there. I think the mindset shift started, but then it took a little while for me to get into the swing of things and in the process.
Oh, that's natural, and that's what happened to me. A little trigger started going off, like that coworker kind of giving me crap about being out of breath, and then you start seeing other people doing things, and then you see yourself in the mirror, and for me too, also, it was going to the doctor. He's like, well, your blood pressure's getting a little up there. We may have to starting you on some, blood pressure medicine, things like that.
Yep.
Little things popping up, a little blockage going on in your arteries here. Oh, okay. Little things that get your attention, that get you thinking, and you put things off and put them off and put them off. So finally, enough thing comes together to get your attention to say, hey, you better do something about this, or you're going to continue down this path, and it's not a good path.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's actually a cool thing that we've talked about a couple of times too, is just the things you think about, the things that you had to take medicine for in the past, whether it was really acid reflux. I know that's probably something that's still a little bit prevalent, but not near like it was.
Right.
Like sleep apnea, things like that.
Oh, yeah, threw that machine away.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I heard somebody say it the other day, so it's an original thought, but it's like, it's amazing what you can do whenever you're sleeping and you don't have like 30 pounds of extra weight pushing down on your chest, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So it's been a night and day difference for me health-wise, and I know it has for you too. I don't know if there's anything else besides those couple things that you've noticed that have just been health benefits right off the bat from getting in shape and anything like that.
Well, absolutely. I mean, like that whole, strap a sack of feed on your belly and go walk around all day long. People are, I ain't doing that. Well, that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
You just put it on over time. You don't realize it. But yeah, just kind of getting yourself past that start phase, and just doing it and getting going it makes a huge difference. Huge difference in just your outlook on life, just everything. It just gets you going down that right path.
It does, and man, you touched on it just a little bit ago, but I think it's something that's worth having a conversation about just because of the impact it's had in our lives. You touched on doing hard things whenever we were talking about the ultramarathon stuff, and one of the things that we've both done that is hard is completing 75 hard, which is, for those of y'all that don't know, we've talked about it a million times, but it's drinking a gallon of water, taking a picture every single day, reading 10 pages, 2 workouts. One of them has to be outdoors, 45 minutes apiece. They have to be separate from each other. You have to follow a diet to a T, no alcohol, no cheat meals. Am I missing anything?
I think that's pretty much it. You got to take the self photo too.
Yep, you got to take a photo, and if you miss any of those things, you got to start over on day one. The goal is to make it 75 days with doing those, and it's really meant to jumpstart your life in a positive direction, to create mental discipline, mental toughness.
Right.
And it's done that for me, especially, and I know your experience with 75 hard was kind of a tough road. Do you mind telling the listeners, maybe anybody who's in the process, who's done, or who's thinking about 75 hard might be able to relate to this? Do you mind sharing your story?
No, not at all. Not at all. There is no complete roadmap that works for everybody. So that's something I always like to say. But, my first experience was I jumped right in and I said, well, Chance is doing this. I'm gonna try this out. But I didn't. I went in about 10 days. I didn't go all in. I didn't feel like I deserved to have credit for those 10 days. So I backed off.
I actually did something very, very similar when I started too. So
yeah,
I'm glad you said
I wanted
that.
to have the right mindset, because 75 hard is a lot about mindset, discipline and mindset. And so I tried it again and ended up getting a stomach virus, and I quit during that stomach virus, and didn't have the willpower to keep going. And
Sure.
So I waited a while, and I did it again. And this time, I even went through COVID and everything, and I did not. I stayed true to it, did everything. I got to like day 73 or so, and I forgot to take my photo.
You forgot to snap a picture on day 73 of 75 hard.
I remember waking up that next morning, and the reality hit me, and I was like, no. And I had to double check my phone like 3 times. I was like, oh man, because you have an app that you keep up with and you track everything on, and I sure didn't. I didn't take my photo. Well, I finished it out anyway. I was so close, I had to finish it out, but I couldn't take credit for it. So gave myself a little downtime, a few days to kind of, regroup, and then went back at it again. And this next time, I made it all the way through. So it was not smooth sailing. It was tough, but, I learned a lot from it, and it taught me a lot. It taught me that I can. It taught me a lot about self-discipline. It taught me that I can do hard things. Some people are like, well, it's just a couple of exercises and drinking some water and falling. Yeah, but you do all of those things for 75 days straight, and you do it wholeheartedly. You don't just kind of half-ass it. You go do it wholeheartedly. You go through the process, and when you do things for that long, part of the reason you do for more than 75 days is how you make something a habit.
Absolutely.
And so it teaches you how to be self-disciplined and how to take care of yourself. And being self-disciplined and taking care of yourself is like the first step in growth, in my opinion, and bettering yourself. And so it was a tough thing, but that really got me going mentally, and it led into a lot of other things,
Absolutely.
So.
And I think that story of you doing it multiple times is a beautiful picture of kind of progression and where you can end up whenever you really aspire to do something and you make yourself disciplined. Because, it paints the picture really good for development. You start initially and you get the stomach bug and you decide, I'm going to opt out. And then the next time you're like a little bit tougher and you decide, no, I'm going to push through even COVID and keep doing it. And then you right at the end, you have a little bit of a slip up, maybe take your eye off the ball a little bit. And I actually remember your reaction when you did that, when you called me. I think you had processed it and you had gotten your upsetness out of the way. And when you called me, the thing you said was, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to finish it.
I was going to bring that up. I said the old me would have, early on, like that got the stomach bug. Oh, I'm done.
Yep.
Just don't have that willpower. And then that's what I told you. Yeah, when I didn't take that photo, I just wasn't ready. It wasn't my time yet. So
that's a freaking beautiful way to look at that. It really is.
Yeah, it's it was some people can jump in. And like you did, you had that first 10 days or whatever, and then you got back on it and just knocked it out of the park. And some people are made that way. And to me, maybe it's because I'm an older dog or something, and it took a little bit more out of me to make it happen. But we got there, and it taught me a lot. It just helped me going forward with all aspects of everything that I'm involved in now.
Absolutely.
From the job to the family to everything. So it's just changed me a lot.
That's phenomenal. I know it's created a bit of a shockwave in the form of development, kind of through our friends group and our networks. I counted it up the other day. There's over a couple dozen people that have taken on and completed or attempted to do 75 hard just from you and I.
Oh yeah, right? There's some that are doing it right now.
Yeah, right now, and there's other people that like. Not just with 75 hard, but you talked about it earlier, but the inspiration just as a group of the ultra running and everything, there's people, Joe just messaged, he took on his first 50K. Congratulations to him for finishing that too.
Absolutely.
That's huge. Out of the blue, he decided to sign up for one and run it and just killed that thing.
And I say he's excited to do another one now. So he's already got the little bug going on, got the itch now. So that's exciting. We're going to have to see if we can line something up and run together somewhere. So that'd be pretty cool.
Absolutely. And it's been just for me, and I know for you as well. It's a phenomenal thing to be able to influence others to do awesome things, and that's what we're doing here. That's what you're doing there, and with the Westphalia Fitness Center and all that. And I think it's even more inspiring, too, that you were willing to take on these changes at the point of your life that you were. 47, 48 years old, you decided to dive into these things. And looking right now at 52, there's really no slowing down. You're taking on all kinds of things. And we touched on a little bit the ultra running, but you've got some big things down the pipe. with the ultra running, I want to get into it a little bit and kind of progress towards those bigger things you got going. But the first ultra run that you did, can you tell us a little bit about that? Just how that all went down. How, I guess, what caused you to sign up for it? How it went? Kind of where you went from there and where you're heading.
Well, I read David Goggins' book.
Yeah, that'll do it.
And I thought, what the heck, I'm just going to sign up for this thing. You know, I've been running out there on the trails at this place, and I saw him post a sign up that said, hey, we're going to have a race out here. And I think it was a 10K, a 20K, or a 50K. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I don't really want to just do a 20K. 50K seems like a pretty long race, but I'll do it. And so I signed up for it. But and that was a brutal race, to be honest. That was 3,500 feet or so of elevation change in that race. It was really tough.
Ended up being 33 miles instead of the traditional 31 for a 50K?
Something like that, because they had a little fire or something out there the week prior, so they had to reroute some of the course. But yeah, the ups and downs out there and the hills were brutal. Plus, I just did not know what I was doing, to be honest, flat out honest. I'd run some, but I got out there and I took off. I think I was in the top 15, I know, when I took off, and I had no business being there.
Absolutely. No, I actually ended up running that race, too, very quickly after my first ultramarathon. Way too quick, actually.
Yes, you did.
And I crashed and burned because of how technical and how difficult that run was as well. And I actually ended up hurting my knee and kind of hobbling around for the last, I don't know, like 15 miles or something like that of the race. It was brutal, but that course was no joke.
It was no joke. To see you hobbling in with you had made you a walking stick out of a piece of cedar tree or something, and you was hobbling in, and to see that was phenomenal. But that race was tough for me. I like I said, I didn't know what I was doing. Took off too fast, hit the wall, cramped. It was just miserable.
Yeah.
And but the biggest thing to me, you know, listening to positive motivational stuff, you know, going through 75 hard, you know, going through some of that stuff, I was like, I'm going to finish this thing.
Absolutely, and you did.
I finished it. It was a long day, and it was brutal.
It was.
But I finished it. You know, there was definitely, you get all kind of things run through your head when you're doing a race like that. You think about, I could just be eating a burger somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why am I doing this? Why am I out here? And then you get to a point you're like, I've already covered 2/3 of this thing. I might as well finish it.
Yeah.
And I might as well get that check mark on this thing. So that was my mindset. I was the last finisher that day, to be honest.
Yeah, there was a lot of people that dropped out of that race because of how tough it was.
It was a tough race, but I definitely wanted to finish it, and I did. And it was that right there. You know, of course, I think I had holding back some tears on that.
Yeah,
because it was tough. But that taught me a lot. You know, finishing that race taught me a lot. It opened my eyes to a lot of things, and you know, almost immediately I was like, okay, I'm gonna really work at this and train, and I'm gonna do another one.
Absolutely.
I wasn't like, oh, this is terrible, I'm not doing it anymore now. I was like, all right, we made it through that. What else can we do? So that's kind of it was just another stepping stone, really.
See, and that's pretty cool. And I had a very similar experience whenever I finished my first one. I was overcome with emotion, and it unlocks a door, right? Mm-hmm. If that makes sense. And what I mean by that is it shows you what you're capable of, and in a way that when your back's against the wall and there's no other choice but to force yourself through something that is not fun, is brutal. And
absolutely, nobody's coming out there to help you.
No, nobody can.
You're not going to get any ride. Nobody can help you. But
yeah,
it's an individual thing. It's a willpower thing. You got to be determined to finish that thing, and it's a gut check.
So
it really is.
Well, going from that absolute slugfest and knockdown drag out of an first ultramarathon experience, you then decided to run the 50-miler at Brazos Bend 50 whenever I ran my 100K over in Needville back at April 9th.
That's right. That's right.
And why don't you share that story a little bit? I think that was a little bit different of a race for you.
It was. I had a little more insight on preparation, so I was a little bit more prepared for that race. And plus, I went a little more conservative in the front end.
There you go.
And so, had my nutrition a little more on point as well. Mm-hmm. And, kept my heart rate in more of a comfortable zone. And really, I mean, it still took me a while to get that 50 miles down, but after it was over, I felt like I could have kept going.
Yeah.
I was tired. I'm not going to lie. I was tired, but I felt like I could have kept going. The body was, kind of aching and all that, but everything was still going well. Not unlike my first, 50K, but this 50 miler was really good, and it was a big learning experience for me. So, now I'm ready to do another one. I want to take on another one, but I'll need to take what I learned from both of those races, combine it, and go out a little harder on another one and see if I can pull some time down and be a little more competitive in that. Mainly for me, for anything. I'm not worried about winning anything in particular. I just want to see how well I can do, how much I can learn, how far I can push my old 52-year-old body. So
absolutely. And I mean, so between those two races, obviously a 50 miler and a 33 miler, a lot of similarities, but definitely harder to run that 50 miler out there, stretching that distance out. And that 50 miler went way better for you. What do you think was, I know you alluded to preparation, but what does that really look like? What was the difference in being ready for that 50 miler versus having to just grit and grind through that 33 miler?
It was preparation and training, but it was also being stronger mentally.
Okay.
Being more disciplined, knowing there was no doubt in my mind I was going to run that 50 miles.
Yep.
On that 50K, I didn't know for sure. There was some doubts that crept in multiple times throughout that race, but on that 50 mile, there was no doubt. There was no doubt I was going to finish. Not at all. I mean, my leg would have had to have broken or something, and I probably still would have tried to finish it. But I just, I knew that I could do it, and I was bound and determined to do it. So that was just another growing path for me. Another step in the ultra marathon world, I guess. So
yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean, and similar to that experience, I said that at my 100 miler, the first lap going around with Mr. Corey Mitchell. I think I mentioned it on the last podcast too, but it's just I will die before they drag me off of this, and they will drag me off this course before I choose to not finish this thing. Was kind of the mindset, and that made all the difference.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. You have to have that mindset. You really do.
Yeah. Chad calls it taking quitting off the table. Chad Wright.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's huge. It's huge. It's a whole mindset and perspective shift.
Oh yeah. Taking quitting off the table. Don't die in a chair. All that stuff he likes to say. That's a really good podcast for anybody interested in some good podcasts. 3 of 7 podcast.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about that a little bit too. As a guy that's at the point that you are in your life, I'm a younger guy. I like to consume some different content, some stuff that gets me fired up and ready to go. But where do you get some of your information, some of your motivation, inspiration to dive into things, whether it's books, podcasts, other avenues? What do you like?
Oh man, I listen to a lot of podcasts, probably daily. I listen to podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Bear, BPN.
Absolutely.
Out of Georgetown, Texas. He inspires me a lot. This guy is, bodybuilder turned triathlon athlete, then went into ultra running, has his own brand of supplements that he's got on the market that are really great. He's just a positive, motivational kind of guy. He just does things. He does things to inspire you. And 3 of 7, those guys are great. Had the pleasure of going and watching you run your first ultra marathon at their 50K last year.
Mm-hmm.
And that was phenomenal. Those guys are great.
They have a great message.
Andrew Facilla, course, with the 75 Hard and the First Form group, those guys are fantastic.
Absolutely.
Send a great message. Shoot, there's so many good ones out there, and books. I mean, Born to Run was a great book. I mean, some of the the podcast and the books. Man, I'm going blank.
See, Jocko's books. I know that's one we both mutually like.
Absolutely, that's some really good read right there, and the podcast is great. Sends a really good positive message. There's so many of them out there. It's just, David Goggins has a great book.
He does.
Great story. I just really tear into some of that stuff right there for my daily kind of get going. I mean, I probably put one of those on first thing in the morning usually. Listen to somebody on there. Joe Rogan has some good positive people on there as well.
He does.
There's too many to even name. I know I'm forgetting some really good ones, but of course, I look forward to yours for sure when they come out.
I appreciate that.
I'm a little biased on that maybe, but
maybe just a little.
Maybe, but yeah, and then that 75 Hard got me into reading for one thing. I never cared for reading a whole lot, but when you're reading 10 pages a day on that, you sit down, and the next thing you know, I done read 20. You get into some really good positive books, and that's a good thing. So all that kind of stuff just kind of it leads itself to keeping me going and motivating me every day to do some good stuff. So
yeah, no, I completely agree. I think we probably consume a lot of the same stuff. Of course, Tim Grover's books as well. Those are phenomenal. I think Relentless and Winning.
Oh yeah, both of those are great books.
Phenomenal books. I got a mess of them over here behind me. 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz too.
Yep.
Just books that I like to consume stuff that helps me give a kind of better approach and better mindset to everything that I'm taking on. And you mentioned the power of positivity. That's been so huge in my life. Like you said, with the running and all that, has really created a positive outlook and created a very positive narrative in my life. Just an overall bubble that surrounds everything. This positive sphere around me.
Well, it bleeds into everything else you do. Your daily taking. I mean, these days, doing the work we do, you're multitasking all day long. You got so many things going on, and if you had a negative outlook on that, it would make it terrible. So keep that positive mindset when you're doing that. Just when you're dealing with maybe something at home, with your family, of course, when you're working out and you're running and all that, but it bleeds into all other areas. Maybe you're going to school and you're trying to, get that degree you didn't finish up, all that kind of stuff. If you do it with a positive mindset, it just makes life so much better, so much easier.
It really does. It does. And I don't know. I'm a little bit biased and a huge advocate for it, but I can't help but just tell you how much having a good diet, having a good amount of physical activity, and building confidence through those things, and becoming healthier, just overall, just whether it's and it's not even the necessarily the healthier side of it, right? Becoming happier.
Yes.
Right. Finding sustainability and finding a place where you can enjoy the things that you are doing in your life and enjoy your life, your family, your friends, your career.
Absolutely.
I mean, is that over your, I guess I say your development for 5 years now. I know it started probably before that even, but over the past 5 years, has that been a pretty contagious thing throughout your life?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that you touched on a little bit about being happier, and that was one of the big trigger things for me is I wasn't happy with how I felt. I wasn't happy being tired all the time, and I just wanted to feel good.
Yeah.
I wanted to feel, and as I got older, you'll get there someday, but as you get older, you start to think about, man, the quality of my life is very important.
It is.
I've only got X amount of years left. Do I want to spend them feeling bad, no energy, feeling like crap? Or do I want to spend them, going and doing things, feeling like a 20-something-year-old or whatever, a 30-something-year-old like I used to feel, don't want to have moments of that and go out there and, you know, as some people say, come sliding in sideways with 4-ball tires when I hit the, you know,
Yeah.
you know, don't want to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I want to do, you know. And I've told, you know, like you were saying earlier, I'd rather die on this trail than, you know, not finish this race. But I'd rather die in the woods running than I would die in a recliner because I just felt like crapola all day long.
Yeah.
And that's just me, you know. And everybody's got to make up their own mind what they want to do. But that's just how I feel about it, you know.
I agree. And one thing you talked about, just the overall, like the happiness and the quality of the experiences that you were having, and you're wanting to have just a more positive experience. But even the overall, just the quality of each time you get to do something, each experience that you get to have. I think Jesse Itzler brought it up whenever he talks about, you know, like if you've got grandparents, for instance, and your grandparents are only going to have about 10 more years left to live, and you see them twice a year, that means you only have 20 more times to see them. You have 20 more times to have a positive and enjoyable experience with them. So make the absolute most of it. And I think that this whole entire, speaking for myself, but of course I'm sure you can see it too, just this entire journey has taught me that in so many ways. Like I really appreciate the conversations that me and you were able to sit down and have now, as opposed to the ones that we were having prior to these experiences, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I heard that Jesse Itzler, what you're talking about, I've listened to that as well, and it does. It gets your attention. You're like, it gets you really thinking. When you start putting it into numbers like that, you're like, wow. And it gets you to open your eyes about a lot of things in life that you, whatever it may be, whether it's visiting your parents or whether it's going and seeing different parts of the country, whatever it may be you want to do, you know, I'm only going to have so many opportunities to have quality moments with my wife or whatever it may be, you know, do I make the most of those times, you know? So it gets you thinking about a lot of things.
Like, it'll completely change the kind of person you bring into a situation. I'm talking about yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
The version of you that you bring into that situation and scenario, it'll change it.
Oh yeah.
And man, that's phenomenal. And it's really cool. I can't tell you how much I appreciate the relationship that we formed over this past little bit. It's, in a lot of ways, I mean, you'll always be my dad. You'll always have that relationship and that respect. But this past couple years it has turned into a friendship more than anything. And I truly hope you know how much I appreciate that.
Well, same here. It had, you know, you always hope that someday, you know, you can get through the whole teaching your kids and disciplining them and all that kind of stuff, and later on you can come to become real good friends and all that, and enjoy your time together. And I really am grateful that we've been able to do that and bond. A lot of it's been over, you know, changing our lives for the better and being positive, and, you know, of course the ultra running and the weightlifting as well, but just pumping each other up in a positive way. You know, sometimes for streaks there every day for a while.
Yeah.
So it's been a huge positive in my life, and it's made a huge difference. And like you say, on the outlook of everything, you know, just whether it be a chore I got to do or whatever, it just changes everything, you know.
Absolutely.
You know?
And I know the past 5 years have been crazy for you, and it's been crazy to see as your son. And you always hear dads talking about their sons or their daughters or whoever, and just being proud of what they've been able to accomplish. But even before that, just the life that you and Mom have built and the progress that y'all have made has been just nothing short of inspiring to be privy to be able to witness. And I think that some of the biggest things that people don't see is that journey started a long time ago. You've always had this drive within you to get better things, to move your life in a more positive direction. It started, I mean, back before me and Ty were even born. You're living in Section 8 housing in Temple, government housing.
Yeah.
And it just a rough life, and then moving into a 70s model single wide trailer with holes in the floor, all kinds of issues, the old tin can. And then I think whenever we moved out of that thing, we sold it for like $2,000 or something. It was rough.
If that, yeah.
And you worked incredibly hard to work through promotions and positions to get to a better spot, to management, so that you could help build dream home for Mom and move us into a great place. And just beyond that, even sacrificing and always giving my brother Ty and I the things that we needed to be successful in life, whether it was sports like baseball that we committed so much time to, or even just in school and the extracurriculars and all those things. And I can't tell you how grateful we are for those things, but even more than that, just how inspiring that's been to be a part of that. Like, we moved to Westphalia and we were somewhat outcast, right? It was a tight-knit community, and that's the way they are. Like, that's not talking crap to anybody.
That's just small town USA there.
It is, and just it was such a tight-knit community. They didn't care for outsiders. Nobody ever does. Anything that's different kind of scares everybody. And we were the part Asian family that moved into the house nobody wanted down there, and had to learn how to gel. And just seeing you go from being one of these outsiders, the black sheep, if you will, to now you've been on the school board for over a decade. You're involved in the Go-Tex, and you umpire, you help out with everything in the community, and you serve everyone. And now you're even helping train people and helping coach people up on their physical fitness and health, and opening your home and your gym. It's your journey, and your path has been nothing but inspirational. And I thank you for allowing me to experience that.
Wow.
So
I appreciate you saying all that. I never really thought of it as anything spectacular or special. I just think of it as the way you're supposed to be, if that makes sense.
No, and that's amazing.
So,
it is.
We struggled when we first, got married young, and, pulling ourselves up, and getting some things going. It took a while, and just till all the way now, to see where we are now, it's really a big positive. And I don't know, you don't even think about it. You don't even think about it until you're there, and you look back like you're saying, and like, wow. But I just thought that's something you're supposed to do. So
no, and it's insane. I can only imagine, now that you've gone through this transformation these past 5 years or whatever it is, what's on the horizon for you and for Mom, and what's going to become of y'all's lives, just because it's always been this crazy drive there, like I said, and now it's...
I think these last few years have helped me realize more I always had the giver's heart, or to want to help people kind of heart, and then I've always had a drive there. I just didn't know how to harness some of that, and I think going through some of these things, this past few years, and experiencing some of these things with you has helped me kind of harness a little bit of that stuff, and get things pointed in a more proper direction, I think, and maybe a more focused direction, I guess. So
absolutely.
I really am enjoying helping people, getting into physical fitness and learning the different things to improve their diets and things like that, and just having a positive mindset. And I'm probably going to pursue, the gym thing a little bit, maybe being a personal trainer, getting certified up on that kind of stuff, and keep pushing that direction. And I want to run another ultra before the end of the year. I'm not sure the distance yet, trying to pick some dates around some of the band gig times I've got laid out as well. It can be a chore, but next year definitely early in the year I'd like to run a 100-miler. And then I've been eyeballing a 200-miler maybe the end of next year. So we'll see what happens. If the old hips will hold up and everything, we might do something like that. But
cool.
I don't know what the limit is, but I want to find it.
Well, I feel the same exact way. And no matter what you want to do, you know I'm here to pace, to crew, whatever I got to do. If I got to drive the van down the road to meet you down
Well,
on
same here.
your
Same
runs,
here.
I'm here for it. And that's the awesome part of this whole deal is that we're able to do that for each other, and I love it. I really do. And I got a couple more questions that I ask everybody at the end of the interviews, and I'm not going to let you get away without them.
All right.
And I think you kind of alluded to one of them already, but we'll go ahead and start with the prior one to that. And that is, what is one thing that whenever you started this whole development process, this whole journey, I guess 5 years ago, whenever you started this, what is something you wish somebody would have told you or something you would have known back then that would have made your journey just that much easier?
Man, I think really just do it.
Just do it.
The old Nike logo.
Yeah.
If I would have just committed and just done it, because I was thinking for years about getting into shape, about changing my diet, everything. If I would have just done it, instead of making 20 excuses all the time, I'll do it later. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll get started tomorrow. I don't have time. If I would have just done it, well, set your alarm clock a little earlier or whatever, or even if it's only 30 minutes, if I would have just done it, it would have got me over the hump, and I could have started achieving some of these things earlier in life instead of waiting till later. That's kind of what I wish I would have known back then. I put it off for years and years.
That's some of the best advice, and I've heard it even put as it doesn't matter if you know which direction to go, just go.
Yes.
If you figure out that's the wrong direction, correct course and go again.
Yeah.
Right? You got to make progress and go somewhere.
If you don't do anything, you're not going to get anywhere. So just make progress. Just take a step that
Bingo.
direction. And like you say, if you got to adjust, okay, adjust, but keep making a positive move. And next thing you know, you're going to be like, several steps down the road, you're already feeling good. Things are starting to turn around. You're going, man, I should have started this a long time ago. And that's exactly what happened to me.
And don't be, I'll add to that just a little bit if you're cool with it.
Yeah.
Just don't be intimidated, right?
Oh,
the people that look like they got all their stuff together, maybe they do now, but at one point they sure didn't. And I can tell you, most likely, they don't have it together all the way now.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody, and not to toot our own horns, but everybody looks at us like we're some kind of superhuman athletes now that we run these marathons, right? These ultra marathons.
Oh,
but
far from it.
We're normal guys that just. I think Chad Wright says it. He said I'm an ordinary guy with an extraordinary will to do hard things or extraordinary drive to be successful.
That's pretty much it. Just an ordinary guy, but whatever happens, I'm just going to, like you say, I'm just going to go at it. I'm just going to attack it. And if I got to adjust because it didn't work out quite right, I'm just going to adjust and keep attacking.
Absolutely.
So as there's a lot of truth to that. Just do it. Just go out there and get started and make things happen for yourself. You have to want to yourself. No one can want it for you.
Yeah.
It starts right there. And then just go. Just go, man. Don't be intimidated. Don't worry about people. I would go, when I first started in the gym, the buddy I was working out with, he's like, the dude could bench 4 45s on each side. Dude, I'm like, I can't even do 25s on each side when I'm first starting. And I'm like, dude, I'm embarrassed. He's like, shut up, keep lifting. And next thing you know, one of these big old guys is coming over to me, and he's like, a month into it, he's like, dude, keep working. You're improving. I can see it. And I'm like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
They're one of those big, scary guys that you think's judging you the whole time,
right? Exactly. So, yeah, and then, I look at those guys like, all right, I'm going to learn from that guy. I'm going to take some of the things he's doing, and I'm going to put it into my arsenal of things to get better and improve on. And that's how I look at it. So,
yeah, and I think that I usually put this in there at the end of the videos, but at the end of the chats, episodes, whatever you can call them. But I think, guys, that's an open invitation. If I can ever do anything for you, if my dad can ever do anything for you, whether you're in Central Texas, South Texas, or even afar, we're here. Reach out. We'd love to help you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
We're
And
supposed to do that as people, you know?
yes, 100%. Yeah. Okay. All right. The last question. This is one you've answered it a little bit, but I want to dive into it a little bit more. What is next in line for you? Whether it's physical fitness, whether it's getting ready for pursuing the gym, whatever it is, what's next in line for you?
Man, I think it's a lot of that stuff. I want to keep pursuing the gym. I've got to acquire more equipment. I got some things I want to do as far as expansion on it and developing that a little bit more to get some different forms of equipment in there, and actually have more people come out and get involved in using the facility, and just keep on working that angle and teaching them about eating clean and eating healthy and that kind of stuff. That's kind of what I think is next in line as far as that goes. As far as like I said, I hit on it a while ago, but I want to run. I want to keep running. I want to see what I can do. 100-miler next year in the spring. I'd like to do a 200-miler.
Absolutely.
I may look for something flatter than hilly. I don't know, but who knows? But and then who knows what I might get into? But yeah, I just want to see what I can do, what I can get into, and keep playing music and enjoying that and having a blast doing that with some great people, and just want to keep on doing that and bringing that positive flow into everything involved in life. Family. Just I think that's where it's at.
Absolutely. No, I think that's the perfect answer, and I appreciate you for coming on the show. I appreciate you being the inspiration that you have for me. This new studio, these microphones, this setup, this podcast, my entire transformation and everything I've been able to accomplish and this scene and trying to help other people quite literally wouldn't be possible without you. So thank you for everything.
Well, I appreciate it. And appreciate our relationship and how it's grown and how we're able to feed off of each other and motivate each other, and just you don't know how much it means to me. So
I appreciate that. Absolutely.
I appreciate you having me on.
That sounds good. Well, shoot, if y'all have any questions, you can reach out. I think Billy Pitts on Facebook. I think Billy_Pitts on Instagram.
I think that's right.
And then, of course, guys, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. That's at Next in Line Development. I can put you in touch with them as well, as we got a pretty tight relationship.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, so guys, thanks for tuning in, and y'all be good.